What's going on, YouTube? Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. Talking a little Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. All right, so it's obviously game week, and Auburn is about to take on the Minnesota Gophers out of the Big Ten Conference. We've said this before. We've said that the Minnesota actually was one of the hottest teams in college football after a big win over Penn State, beating Penn State 31-26 off of a series of turnovers, which leads us to our topic tonight. What version of the Auburn offense will we see this week? Now, for the most part, you ask anyone associated with Auburn and watching Auburn football this year, it wasn't like nauseous to watch, but they were kind of inconsistent at times. There was an expectation coming into the season with Gus Malzahn calling plays that this was going to be one of the more productive offenses that Auburn has had in a while. The only issue was the only time the offense was super productive was against some of the middle tier teams of the SEC. Texas A&M at the time was not thought to be a middle tier team, but it turns out that they were. Also Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I mean, they really kind of struggled against Ole Miss a little bit. So what we're looking for is we want to see if this Auburn team can play a solid football game against one of the more, at least a little bit above middle tier teams of college football. I think the fact that they were able to beat Penn State says that they have the capability, obviously, to compete high level on a Power 5 level. However, Auburn at the line of scrimmage, especially on defense, is absolutely dominant. Really hard to move the football against Auburn because their defensive line is able to get so much push up front and so much pressure up front. And Auburn has some sneaky fast linebackers who really control the perimeter, and with KJ Britt, all SEC linebacker, good enough, powerful enough to cover especially the A, B to C gaps. He can cover from tackle to tackle. He can also cover sideline to sideline. That's what makes this Auburn defense so great and so versatile in what they can do. Then you got Owen Pappoe, who's very versatile. He's somewhat powerful as a linebacker, but he's fast, kind of like a free to strong safety. So that kind of helps Auburn with why they were very effective on defense this particular year. Now, offensively, here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Auburn go back to good old-fashioned run-first type football. I want to see some run heavy because what I want to see is I want to see DJ Williams, Boobie Whitlow, who started to get a lot of really starting to get a nice first step, has looked pretty good. Either way, I want to see Boobie Whitlow, DJ Williams. I want to see some Sean Shivers. I really want to see Auburn get back to a run first and then pass the football. Take a little bit of pressure off of Bo Nix. Now, obviously, Bo Nix is not the true freshman that he was in the Florida game. A lot of people have beat me up about this because, yes, I was an adamant advocate of Joey Gatewood. I thought at certain points of the season, matter of fact, throughout the offseason, I leaned more towards Gatewood than I did Bo Nix. And I really don't backtrack on that. I still think my thoughts at that particular time still remain true. I thought that Bo Nix, just from my point of view, my talking head point of view, I thought Joey Gatewood should have been given a shot, especially when things started to get shaky. But Gus Malzahn and his football staff saw differently. Mind you, most of us we don't see the practices. So it's easy for us to say who should be the starter, but we don't know what the coaches see. And based on what the actions of the coaches, Bo Nix gave Auburn the best chance to win. And as he continued to develop, I started to believe it. He started to have, he had confidence anyway, but he continued to play very well. I thought he finished the season strong, and the signature win against Alabama was the reason why he got SEC Freshman of the Year. Now, like I said, this one, I don't know if he's a subscriber or not, but made the comment of, yes, I'm talking about I dog Bo Nix out in the middle of the season. I did a live stream talking bad about Bo Nix. And I was right at that time. From what I saw, Gus Malzahn in the Florida game should have taken Bo Nix out when things started to get a little bit shaky. He was clearly overwhelmed. Not saying take him out for the whole game, but give the kid a rest. But that's where I was at that point of the season. And most of you all know things change as the season progresses. How many of you all would have thought that Alabama would not be in the college football playoff conversation this year? Most of you all recant adamant protesters, would say, oh yeah, I told y'all in the offseason that I thought that this would be one of the first years that Alabama would lose multiple games. Man, I wish I could find that video. Got so many of them, I can't remember which one I said that one on. It was when I was starting to do previews. I thought Alabama would be the first Alabama team in a long time to lose multiple games in the regular season, and they did. They lost to LSU and lost to Auburn. So, like I said before, we want to know also, after Auburn gets the running game going, Bo Nix to Seth Williams has been a real nice combination. I'm curious as to, I'll find out, but I'm curious as to whether Anthony Schwartz is going to be healthy for this game, suffering a knee injury against Alabama. That's going to stretch this secondary out as well. Seth Williams tremendously improved this year. 801 yards this year receiving. A go-to guy, made some big catches in the Alabama game. I'm looking forward to seeing that Bo Nix to Seth Williams combination. Started out the season with a season opening win over Oregon with a very gutsy play to win that particular football game. We're going to see what Auburn offense shows up. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast, talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. Auburn headed to the Outback Bowl against the Minnesota Gophers. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.